Me, my friend, and my boyfriend were driving around one night and randomly decided that we wanted to visit a graveyard because we were really into ghosts. I kind of have a keen sense for ghosts, and when we got there, I didn't quite feel right. So when they got out of my car, I stayed in. My friend came running back to my car saying she saw something a ways away. They jumped back in my car and we drove the direction my friend pointed. We got near the tombstone and I started shaking really bad, and me and my friend saw a black figure by the tombstone. I started shaking more, feeling like the figure wanted to hurt me. I can feel so many waves of hate and pain. I started crying. My friend and boyfriend wanted to stay, but I had to get out of there because I just didn't feel safe. It took me an hour to stop shaking after we got back to my house. I hadn't seen a ghost in years, so it was really scary for me, especially since it was a ghost with a grudge of some kind. I've only had one other experience with an angry spirit, and that was when I was 9 or 10 years old. Me and an old friend of mine were looking for stuff to use to decorate a club we had in this tree line. We came across a pile of cement slabs and we found some rusted cans and stuff nearby and in the rocks. She wandered off, but I saw this can in a hole in a pile of rocks. There was no way anything bigger than the can could be in there. But when I reached my hand in, a black, charred hand grabbed my wrist. My wrist felt like it was on fire, like it was going to burn off, and I started screaming. I tried to pull my hand out, but I couldn't. When I finally got it free, there was a black handprint around my wrist. I turned away and started yelling for my friend, but when she got back, the handprint was gone. Only my friend, who also saw the ghost in the first encounter, believes me on that one. No one believes me with the second one. I hope someone does. In 2008, I started a remodel project on a house I was going to rent. During the first few weeks of restoration is when all hell broke loose. And I should have picked up and left then, but instead I went into full-blown spiritual warfare, not understanding that this would change my life forever. I was bound and determined to finish a project that I had started with this house, starting out with little things that happened, like motion detectors going off, boards that were standing would fall over as I passed them, the moisture rising from the floor in the center of the house. From then, it escalated into sounds of wings fluttering, and white powder substances would come up through the cracks and crevices in the walls and flooring. When this would happen, I would leave and come back the next day. I was not going to let this win no matter what the cost would be, as I am a stubborn man and accomplish whatever I set out to do. I knew this was beyond anything that I could understand, when one day, all of the bean pods from a locust tree that were scattered all around the house were all pointing at the house. I contacted the landlord about this, and first he thought I was nuts. And after explaining some of the prior events, he said there was probably an animal that was under the house and hired a man that part-time specialized in removing animals, and came to the house and set several traps baited with veneer sausages. After 1 week and nothing captured, the man never came back, thus leaving all of his traps, and either myself or the landlord never heard back from the man. At this time, I kicked in my own ways of trying to kill or catch whatever was causing me all of this trouble. I finally got to the point that I could not finish the house restoration and handed the key back to the landlord, and losing him as a friend. Now, this is 2014, and I have moved 3 times since then, and whatever this is has followed me and still continues to make my life a living hell. I have pictures, videos of this energy, and it flat scares me to no end. I pray every night for Jesus to set me free of this, and I have yet to have that. My health is deteriorating more rapidly due to the stress of this. I since have stopped trying to capture or kill this, knowing that I cannot. I read the Bible as often as I can and understand that I have control of whatever this is. And I believe that this is a demonic entity, or entities by the size of the energy mass. And I have laid myself completely in the arms of Jesus. Suicide is not an option, as I refuse to end up like these things. I see them wherever I go. And all I can say is that I hope and pray that someday this tribulation in my life will come to an end. For those that have seen or experienced anything like this, do not do as I have done, nor speak to them or acknowledge them. I have 6 years of experience with this, and I know what I'm talking about. I have gone through all protocol to make sure this is real, such as MRIs, blood work, and even tested for long-term syphilis, which can cause experiences like this. I spent 5 days in an institution for depression and abuse for nothing, as not once did a clergy come talk to me. I am as sane as I was long before this ever happened in my life, and, as I have said, I have the evidence to prove this. If anyone can make this go away, that I may have my normal life back, I'm begging for your help. I currently reside in Ellsworth County and open my door to anyone in regards to this through this paranormal team. Thank you. My husband and I moved into an apartment complex located in Newton, Kansas, just a few short years ago. Upon moving in, things seemed to be going okay. Nothing out of the ordinary, which was strange for me. We'd been living in our apartment for almost a year when I had my first encounter with George. The two of us were goofing off on the couch in our living room when suddenly I saw the back of a young man walking down a hallway towards our spare room, laundry room, and bathroom. Immediately, I sat up wide-eyed in disbelief of what I'd just seen. The man, whom we now call George, was very tall, had dark hair, and was wearing a red t-shirt and jeans. My husband asked what was wrong, and I told him that someone was in our apartment because of how real and solid the apparition had appeared to me. I was surprised by my husband's reaction after telling him this. All he said was, "You saw him too, huh?" At first, I feared George, didn't understand his presence. After gathering bits and pieces of information on the complex, I have come to enjoy his company rather than fear it. Many years ago in the building next to ours, there was a young man that had been shot to death while walking down the stairs, unwilling to fight with the shooter. He died because he walked away. The shooter got off with self-defense. Since then, there's been another murder, followed by arson fire, leaving the building where George resided condemned. He hasn't left our apartment since, and has continued to make appearances. Both cases made headlines on local news stations such as KWCH-12 and KAKE-10. The stories were covered in the town newspaper, the Newton Kansan. The apartment complex is the Slate Creek Apartments, which used to be the Cherry Hill Apartments. When I was around the age of 7, my aunt decided to remodel her attic. My father was always there to help her remodel, and sometimes he would bring me and or my siblings along to play with our cousins, while he went up to the attic and worked. One day, I remember I was trying to play with my brother and my cousin, but as young kids, there was always a rule, no girls allowed. So, I went and tried to go play with my older sister and older cousin. They gave me a box full of dolls to play with in the hallway and kicked me out. I was sitting in the hallway when I heard a whisper. I couldn't make out what it was saying. I looked at the very end of the hallway and noticed a dark figure coming closer. At that age, I really had no idea what was normal or not, so I just stared at it. It came close enough to touch, staring down at me. Soon my older cousin and sister came out of the room, and in the blink of an eye, the black figure disappeared. When I was older and in the house, I was in the kitchen doing the dishes, alone. I was always scared, but suddenly I became even more scared than usual, like something was watching me. My brother and cousin came downstairs and had a drink of water, then walked back upstairs. After about 5 minutes of cleaning the kitchen alone, I heard the cellar doorknob being toyed with. I looked at it, and it was being twisted back and forth. I then heard a voice say, "Help me," over and over again. It sounded like a little girl. "Help me, I'm suffocating," it said. I asked what it wanted, and it just started laughing. I yelled for my brother and my cousin to stop, but it just kept laughing. I threw the door open. Nothing was there. Completely filled with fear. I ran up the stairs. I remember feeling like something was following me. I ran up the stairs, hysterical, yelling and asking if my cousins or siblings were pulling a prank on me. All of them were completely honest and said no. My aunt also had a large collection of China dolls. She would randomly ask me if I played with them because they were misplaced. She would ask everyone, but no one ever touched them. Maybe the ghosts or whatever they were moved the dolls. A lot of weird things happened there. And my cousin said they would always get worse when I was there. Now that my aunt moved out of there, I never have to go back, which is a good thing. The things happened there didn't feel right. They felt evil. Now, when I drive past the house, I just feel sad for them. Sad because they're stuck. Probably forever. I live in Wichita, Kansas, and every October we have a huge haunted attraction called the Field of Screams. It's a walkthrough, and there are actors that act as this demonic Spurlock family. Well, I got hired on. I got placed in the middle of the field in the house. I'm what people call a sensitive, and honestly I get scared easily, so when we did our walkthrough and got in our places, I was scared. But my stomach was turning and I was almost crying. I mean, this place would be home for any spirit. I dismissed it as me just being scared. The first day at work went fine, but a week later my coworker came to me and told me about a little boy that came through and said, "Hey Brian," and he was all alone, and then moved into the next room where my friend Rachel was. Thing is, Rachel never saw this boy, neither did I, but we always saw little shadows or heard scratches. Rachel sat on this bed that we used to move up and down but no longer worked, and on one specific night, we were speaking about the little boy and the bed started going crazy with us on it. The little boy never seemed to be negative and he spoke to Brian frequently. We found out his name was Michael, but he never moved out of his little area. On one occasion, when I thought I was going to pass out due to heat, I was standing by Michael's little doorway and a vague icy cold air kept coming to my face, almost in an effort to soothe me. My main concern was on my last day of work, when I was chasing a group of people to the next room. I looked behind me. I saw a huge, looming shadow figure, I guess around 6'8" or 7 feet. I got scared and felt intimidated by this shadow figure. I wanted to not cause alarm to my group, so I ignored it and remained professional, but I looked back and it was gone. Not an hour later, my friend Brian was going through my exit, where I saw the shadow figure, and he jumped. Mind you, Brian is a big guy, both in structure and weight. I hadn't told anyone about the shadow figure, but Brian outright just said, "I just saw a shadow pass by, and it was huge." And it stopped and looked at me, and he seemed so mad. There were 2 other ghosts that were spotted by my coworkers, but I never saw them because of my location. My question is, what's up with the shadow figure, and what could have possibly attracted Michael and Brian, Rachel and I? Few extra details. In my location, there is an emergency exit that frequently would come open, and I would hear a lot of stuff. It is possible those noises were the angry shadow man. And what's going to happen to Michael? Brian had been working the field for 3 years, and this was his first time seeing Michael. Michael would also physically push customers who were mean to Brian, or trip them, or if Brian was gone, he would open the door for people. It was the craziest thing. What do you think? I mean, I thought I was the creepy thing in the dark. Apparently, not so. Hey ghouls, I hope this didn't sound too bad. My throat is really sore because Damn you, allergies, you suck ass. My throat hurts so bad. So I did pick shorter stories because my throat literally feels like it's bleeding. It doesn't sound like it, thank goodness, but it hurts so much when I swallow and talk. But yeah, I am house sitting this weekend, so I'm going to give you all a heads up. I'm going to do the absolute best I can to do the stream this Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm going to do my absolute best. Her internet is very shoddy. The person's house that I'm watching, the internet's not that great. But I'm going to do my absolute best to do that and to get my Monday video out, which I really, really, really want to be the subscriber special. Since I did hit 3K, we did it, ghouls. We got to 3K. That's a lot of people. So yeah, if you haven't already, please, please send in your stories, alright? I need them. I only have a few. And I wanted to make an epic subscriber special. So if I don't get, like, at least 5 more, I'm gonna wait until next week to do the subscriber special. So yeah, send those in, please. Secret word, dogs. Because we're house sitting, mostly because we have to take care of my sister-in-law's dogs and cats. So yeah, there's that. But as always, last video will be on the top left. Next video will be on the bottom left. All my social medias are on the screen as well as in the description box below. And remember, there's always someone or something watching you.